Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this Saturday we have Cosmo Police Galivan, another fun arcade archive release. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. Originally released to arcades in 1985 from developer Nichibutsu, Cosmo Police Galivan is this fun little run and gun shoot 'em up with some beat 'em up elements to it. It's not really a title that I'll recommend to everyone though. Really, I would just recommend it to those that are more hardcore retro arcade fans. And if you like what you see here, it might be one that I would potentially recommend, but just at a sale. The game itself did also receive a port to the Famicom, but looking at screenshots of that, it almost looks like a different game. I haven't played it, so I honestly can't say that with 100% certainty, just the way that it looks to me. So this game itself, while it is fun, I'll get into the reasons why I can't really recommend it. Starting the game, we take the role of the last Cosmo police officer. We're assaulting this space or evil space organization that goes by the name Aku, and trying to take out their leaders, the Go, on this planet Sinai. So right off the bat, we only have the ability to punch and kick, which is actually looks pretty humorous. But defeating certain enemies and also spread out throughout the stages, we'll occasionally come across these blue power crystals. Once we collect those crystals, we become the powerful cybernetic warrior Galivan, armed with our trusty Buster Beam, and should we collect additional power crystals, we can get weapons like the laser sword. Pretty awesome, right? So the game itself is really interesting in terms of screen setup. So instead of having a setup where we've got scrolling in a horizontal setup, we've got more vertical and presentation, which is really weird for a run and gun shoot 'em up. As it really doesn't give us the ability to see very well the enemies coming from either the left or the right of the screen. But one thing that is neat is how it does have multi-directional scrolling, which, especially given the time the game was released, is a decent feat in and of itself. So you can go up, down, left, right, and depending, there are actually multiple ways to work your way through a stage. So getting back to the gameplay itself, so picking up the power crystals gives you the Galivan suit of armor. However, if your HP drops below health, you lose that. Picking up another crystal will give you the Galivan suit again, and not only that, but it also gives you full health. In this case, we're actually transformed back into Galivan to fight the boss. We didn't get that health benefit, but I think we should be okay. Maybe not. Worst case scenario, we just respawn on the boss. So there are two different colored power crystals we can select though. And once we're transformed, those crystals do different things. So we've got the blue power crystal, which will give us the laser blade, which we'll see right here. This is the laser blade, and it's a very powerful weapon. Should we get a red power crystal while transformed into Galivan, we'll get what's called the Cosmic Crush, which is kind of like a three-way shot that fires straight ahead and deals quite a bit of damage. So this is our boss. I'm assuming one of the Go's that's mentioned in the manual that comes like with the game. Once we defeat them, we move on to the last stage. Yes, that's right. This game only has 2 stages. Alright, so there was something really interesting to see there before I get back to the number of stages the game has. So should your health fall below half, you'll lose the Galivan suit. But that's actually not a bad thing, because that gives you the ability to pick up... Oh, there we go. This is the Cosmic Crush. Falling below half health and losing the Galivan suit means we can collect another power crystal and power up once again. That's good because it gives us the ability to refill our health. Whereas if we pick up power crystals while transformed, we don't restore our health. That's something that's really important to keep in mind, as it makes health management a very important part of the game itself. One thing that is kind of fun you do move at the same speed you walk at when you're crouched. Whoa, we're getting bodied by flying squirrels! Alright, so we're nearly to the end of the second stage, and after the second stage, the game just loops. So, like most games that have a looping difficulty... No, I took a wrong turn, actually. Was it in Albuquerque? Anyway, references aside, the game just enters a second loop, and while that second loop is significantly more difficult, it's basically the same gameplay just over and over again. So really you're just looking for some sort of high score. So if we can collect another power crystal, we can transform back into Galivan, get full health, and have problems with these crazy flying squirrels. Whoa! So the stage where it is multi-directional scrolling, you have, in the very first stage, in the first time through it, you do have directional arrows directing you towards the bottom of the stage. After that, you're on your own. So a little bit of time through the stage and you'll learn the pathways through. And that basically is what we have for the Cosmo Police Galivan. So as far as the minus flavors I have for the game, the big one is that there's not much variety to it all. It's extremely short and only 2 levels. That in so many ways just feels kind of lazy. And as I was mentioning earlier, like the screenshots I've seen of the Famicom game look very, very different from the arcade title. And it almost looks like it would have changed things to be maybe a better game with more variety to it. So using the laser blade, we're able to quickly take out the boss. We are getting extra like enemy spawns, but we quickly take care of them, and we transport back to our ship and back onto the planet to do it all again. Another minus flavor, there are no continues in the game itself. If you die, it's game over and you have to begin the game from the very beginning. So your score is the score you can achieve on a single continue, making the high score mode that the Arcade Archive title releases with, as all arcade titles do, from Hamster, with its arcade, or rather high score mode, kind of redundant. But on the plus flavor, I do just really like this like a classic arcadey feel that this game presents. There's something fun about it, even if it's relatively short and, like, truth be told, just unfair and difficult. As the way you go through it, your power-ups, you never keep the more powerful weapon versions for very long. It's very easy to lose the suit, but at the same time, there is that power, or rather health management. So if we get a crystal drop here, we just get drop below health, let's see, half health, then we pick up another power crystal, and bam, we're back at full health. That's really important if you're going for a high score run. Once again, though, I think we made a wrong turn. Alright, well, that does it. Cosmo Police Galivan served up for your enjoyment. Definitely an interesting title, but once again, not one that I would really recommend for those outside of the hardcore arcade fans. However, if you do like it, it is available on the Nintendo eShop at this point, and I'm assuming where most titles also end up on the PlayStation 4, we'll see the PlayStation 4 release for it at some point in the future as well. Alright, that'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.